Hello, Perth! How's this rain we've got? We want to welcome you all here today to this rally against government corruption. We all know that it's happening. We're all feeling the effects. This afternoon, we're going to hear from a number of speakers who are going to give you their rendition of what's going on and how it's working for them, or not working, as we go. Following the speakers, there'll be a walk up through the city, down to Murray Street, then back along Hay Street Mall, and then back to here. There will be some music. So we hope that you all stay the course, and you're all back here later on for a bit of Brazilian celebration. Now, I'm just going to start with a little speech that I've written. And what I've done is I listened to this amazing woman who was in the EU last week. She was speaking. She's a political commentator from Holland, from the Netherlands. Her name is Eva Vlaardingenburg. And she's 29 years old. And she's amazing. So she did a very long speech in the EU Parliament. What I've done, I've just adapted it to fit here for us in Australia. And what I want you to feel these words that she said, and I want you to take it with you today when you're supporting us as Australians and wanting the government to take notice of us. Alright? So here we go. The Australian government stands exposed. Their carefully constructed facade beginning to crumble under the weight of undeniable reality. They assured us that their projects were for the good of all, the path to prosperity and peace. They promised us stability, but have delivered us chaos. They told us that unity would make us stronger, but they are stripping us of our sovereignty. They promised freedom, but they have given us censorship, surveillance, and a suffocating political correctness that silences anyone who dares to dissent. What we are witnessing today is not the flourishing of a united Australia, but the unraveling of a system that has placed itself above the people it claims to serve. The crisis of the Australian government is not just political, it's moral. It's the revelation that the very mechanisms that they have relied on to consolidate power no longer carry legitimacy in the eye of the ordinary citizen. Across Australia, people are waking up to the truth that they have been lied to. They are realising that the freedoms handed down through generations have been bartered away piece by piece in exchange for false promises of safety and progress. Australians are beginning to see their government not as leaders, but as betrayers. This realisation is terrifying to those in power because they cannot control it. Their plan depends on the passivity of the masses. But the masses are no longer passive. Citizens are no longer willing to sit silently as their livelihoods are destroyed by reckless economic policies, as their cultures are diluted under the weight of uncontrolled migration, and as their voices are stifled by an ever-expanding machinery of censorship. They paint dissent as extremism. They brand skepticism as misinformation. And patriotism is condemned as hate. But today, these very concepts, the right to defend one's borders, the right to preserve one's identity, the right to speak one's mind, are resonating with millions of us. Our government and most of its members have insulated themselves from the realities faced by ordinary people. They are far removed from the struggles of those who work hard, raise families, and pay the price for policies they never asked for. The truth is breaking through the narrative. That censorship protects democracy is not a truth. Every new crisis exposes their weakness. An energy crisis they cannot solve, an economic downturn they cannot reverse, and a cultural divide they cannot bridge. As each promise fails, the people grow less trusting, more restless, and more determined to reclaim what has been taken from them. This awakening is not isolated. It is spreading across borders, across languages, and across generations. They have hoped to divide us by labeling us, by setting us against one another, and by fragmenting national pride into guilt and submission.
Bring back tar and feathering!
I like it. Yet the opposite is happening. The tide of public opinion is no longer in their favour. When power begins to slip, those who hold it always resort to the same tactics: control, coercion, and fear. We are witnessing this strategy unfold. The strategy of control is not new. It's as old as tyranny itself, but it cannot last forever. A population can be manipulated for a time, but never indefinitely. The more they try to silence dissent, the louder it becomes. The more they attempt to erase national identities, the more passionately people defend them. Control breeds resistance, and resistance is growing, stronger and stronger. The more they censor, the more people wonder what truth is being hidden. The more they regulate, the more people ask who truly benefits from these rules. They underestimate the will of ordinary men and women to stand against injustice. Their strategy of control is failing. It is failing not because it's weak, but because the human desire for liberty is stronger. It is failing because truth cannot be erased forever. Ordinary citizens are demanding to be heard again, demanding to take back what was stolen from them: sovereignty, dignity, and freedom. This is about freedom against control, truth against deception, and sovereignty against submission. The beginning of a new chapter, where truth is spoken boldly, where sovereignty is reclaimed unapologetically, and where freedom is defended without compromise. That power is returning to where it always belonged, in the hands of the people. With that power and that awakening comes a responsibility to us that cannot be ignored. We must stand firm, we must rise together and ensure that Australia not only survives this moment, but emerges stronger, freer, and more united in spirit than ever before. The time for silence has ended. This is the moment to speak without fear, to act without compromise, and to stand without apology. For truth, for freedom, and for the survival of our beautiful country of Australia. Thank you. All right. Have we got you going? We've got you going. Okay, our first speaker today is Robin Jackson-Stegner of Courage is Secure. Welcome to the stage, Robin. Come and tell us what it's about.
Alrighty, greetings everybody. My name is Robin. I'm terrified I'm going to fall off the back of this stage. Excuse me while I adjust myself and my mic. My name is Robin. I am the founder of Courage is the Cure. I'm independent media and one of the managing editors for the Light newspaper Australia. Wonderful. I'm going to talk to you about corporate media. Yes, we do need the truth. Liberal media, or the liberal media industrial complex. But before I do that, I just want to say a huge thank you to the fantastic independent media in Western Australia. Of course, we have independent journalist, documentary filmmaker and writer Scorpion Media Group. He's around there somewhere, I'm sure. We also have the wonderful videographer, drone extraordinaire, Mr. Max Freedom, right here at the front. I think my microphone stand is drunk. It's leaning to the right. And of course we have the founder, producer and presenter of Edge Radio, Mr. Aaron Malloy. Where are you? Wonderful, wonderful independent media. Now, why are independent media important? Because we cannot trust corporate media. We cannot trust liberal media. The media have been used by the government and by the ugly, ugly creatures who don't have the testicular fortitude to show their faces to deceive the public. It's a specialised psychological warfare tactic that corporate media has been employed for. Unfortunately, we have a situation where not only are they brainwashing the general public, we also have a situation on our hands now where our youth are being indoctrinated. Now, when that spreads to academia, our entertainment, our music, our TV shows, it starts to change people's beliefs, people's values, how indeed they see reality. It is a slow erosion of our cultural foundations, and it's through persuasion, influence, and of course controlling the narrative. And this is the very dangerous point where we find ourselves in at the moment. This is a fifth generational war tactic. You don't need tanks rolling down your street to be under attack. And we are most definitely under attack, and our youth are under attack. That's right. We should be all very concerned about our youth, about our academia, about our universities indoctrinating, brainwashing, subverting Australian culture. There's a very good video on YouTube if you want to go and have a look. It's a Soviet defector, Yuri Bezmenov. You want to go and watch that and inform yourself about ideological subversion. It usually takes a couple of generations. It's a very slow tactic. It doesn't just happen overnight. And that's what we've been seeing. It creates distrust. It creates division. It creates cynicism, a loss in our institutions. I remember when I was in primary school, it started with the introduction of being politically correct. You remember that? And then that spreads to products like coon cheese. Apparently that's offensive, right? No, it's an Australian cheese. But then we head on into the late 90s, early 2000s, and we find ourselves with what I'd like to affectionately call brain rot. It's a mind virus. This is when people want to say to you that what you're saying is a microaggression, that your words are violence. No, our words aren't violence, and we can see with the assassination of the Christian conservative founder of Turning Point, Charlie Kirk. That the liberal media industrial complex presented him in a particular way. The universities presented him in a particular way. They twist your words, they turn them upside down. It's called Newspeak. Read the book 1984.
I love you, Charlie.
And they want to say, yes, round of applause for Charlie. Our words are not violent. Our words are powerful. We need to be able to identify ideological subversion. We need to be able to identify when corporate media, when the governments, when our unelected bureaucrats, when our politicians are taking us out into the back alley to finger us, to believe something that's not true, and then they tell us on the TV that it's the right, the far right, that is violent, and that our words are violent. No, they had to shut Charlie up because that was an attack on him, that was an attack on free speech, and that was an attack on every single person here. And it says, don't you dare speak, you be quiet. You fall in line. And there's a duplicity. It means you go home at night and say, well, this system's pretty awful, but I can't say it out loud because I'm going to get in trouble. That's that subversion working. So I would really like it if you could arm yourself with information, because that is our ammunition. And then you speak to people. Do not be fearful. Be courageous. Stay relentless, and always, always tell the truth. God bless everybody, and thank you very much. Do you want me to get a minute silence? So last night in Sydney and many other places across Australia, and before that there were many vigils for Charlie Kirk. We would like to have a minute's silence for Charlie. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. And we're going to play a tribute song. This is my great pleasure to introduce... No? Oh. No, we're not. No, computer says no. Thank you very much, everybody. And make sure that you always speak the truth. We are all Charlie Kirk. Thanks, everybody. This is looking a little bit sad. Right. Hang on a minute. Who was responsible for this? I think I know what I'm doing. I don't know why that's around there, but... Wow. So many moving parts. go.
Oh, I know much better how to do it than any man, I'm pretty sure. Oh, sorry, that was to the guy that said that over there. Now, before we continue, we just have a few council regulations that we have to impart to you. So I'm just going to get Stuart to pop up and tell you what they are. Well, they do, and we're just doing our duty by telling you. It's up to you what you do with it.
Oh, hello everyone. So it's actually I'm the protest applicant, so I actually applied for the permit for today. And, oh baby. Alright, so, I have two conditions that the Chief Commissioner of Police says I have to impart to you. The one is we have no problems with. We don't want any signs or imagery which incites violence or hatred. No problem there. The other one is a brand new one, just introduced. It is brand spanking new, and it is this. You come here today, you are not allowed to put a covering over your face. I kid you not. I kid you not. Because they want to know everyone who is here. I expect there'll be a drone with taking software, facial recognition software, so they know that you're here, that you're here, that you're here. If you put something on your face, you will go directly to jail. Shame!
That's the opposite of what they say!
If you don't want your employer to know that you are here, too bad. They don't care if you get the sack. Shame! If you are a police officer and you want to support what we are talking about today, they want to know every single police officer that turns up. So they will be called in to get an unfriendly chat on Monday morning from Commissioner Cole Blanche. Shame! If you are a victim of domestic violence, you will never be allowed to go to a protest evermore because they will say you're not allowed to come to a protest with your face partially covered. Shame! So what is happening here? They are breaching Section 75 of the Criminal Code, which says any person, including the Commissioner of Police, who hinders or interferes with the free exercise of any political right by another person is guilty of a crime and is liable to imprisonment for 3 years. Lock him up! Lock him up! I have now fulfilled my obligations to inform you of the permit conditions.
Well, thank you, Stuart. Bit of saliva on here. He's very passionate about that. And just so you know, there will be some council members in the crowd keeping an eye on you. You won't know who they are, though. How you going, guys? Enjoying the sunshine? Good vibe? Yes! I am from New Zealand, but yeah, it's all good. Next up, we have Adrian McRae, the councillor from the now dissolved Port Hedland Council. Now, Adrian is pretty important in our group, and he's responsible for obviously putting the Port Hedland motion to the council up there, which is probably the real reason why the council's been dissolved. Just my opinion, but I'm going to go with that. So, Adrian, would you like to come to the stage, please? Just watch out for the forks.
Well, can you hear me okay? Yep.
Well, this is the most Aussie flags that I've seen since...
Last weekend.
no, I wasn't here on the 31st, but certainly the most I've seen since Anzac Day in Gallipoli in 2003. So if you would indulge me, I'm going to get everyone with a flag. If you can wave it in the air, and I'm going to take a photo of you guys from up here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's someone just suggested we put an Australian flag on every house, and I couldn't agree more. We've seen they're trying to do that in the UK, and they're getting absolutely shut down for it. Look, it's really encouraging to come up here and see. You know, we just get every way of shutting down Australian pride and a bit of patriotism. And and coming down from Port Hedland, we don't get to see crowds this size and certainly this many Aussie flags in one place. It's really uplifting to know, and certainly on the 31st, many of you were probably there as well. It's a really wonderful feeling to know that we've still got genuine Aussie patriots that are proud of their country, proud of their flag, proud of our culture, and proud of what our ancestors have built in this country. Now, as many of you would have heard, we've had a few council dissolutions in the last 6 months in Western Australia. Obviously, Nedlands was a big one. Then we had up north of Broome, we had Derby dissolved, and then of course the big one, Port Hedland. Now, you may remember in October of last year, I was fortunate to be good friends with Member of Parliament Russell Broadbent and also David Speaker, a scientist in Canada, to put his hand up to test the Australian vials of Moderna and Pfizer vaccination stuff, because there was not a single laboratory in Australia that would test what was potentially in those vials. Now, that's because we've got such a corrupt system, both here in Perth and also particularly in Canberra, and the TGA in particular, that told us to trust the science year on year to stick this experimental gene therapy in our bodies and into the bodies of our children. And as the science progressed, it was accidentally discovered by Kevin McKernan that what was being injected into Australians, and not just Australians, anywhere where this mRNA vaccinations were being injected, was heavily contaminated with foreign DNA. Now, in a normal situation, an old school vaccine, this wouldn't be a problem. But this new technology of lipid nanoparticle mRNA, modified RNA technology, that this DNA contamination is wrapped inside lipid nanoparticles that your immune system cannot touch. Now, this was frightening. When we understood that the ramifications of this, I worked with Barrister Julian Gillespie, I worked with Russell Broadbent, and also with David Speaker in Canada, and we put a motion through in Port Hedland. And we demanded that the state government, the WA Minister of Health, the Commonwealth Secretary of Health, the Federal Minister of Health and Aged Care, and the Prime Minister suspend these things until they could do this testing that had just shown this DNA contamination not to be an issue. Of course, by that stage, it had been proven in every laboratory in the world that had tried to disprove it. It was frightening. So Port Hedland stood up, and we voted an absolute majority to send those letters out and demand those of the Prime Minister. Now, as many of you would have seen, that caused a massive reaction from the Premier of WA in particular, because he was the Health Minister of this state when those mandates were rolled out on us, and he was pushing that snot into the arms of every man, woman and child in this wonderful state of Western Australia. And, of course, he first came after the council. He told the council in Port Hedland that we need to stick to our knitting. That, of course, offended every councillor in the state, because councillors, as many of you would know, we don't get paid much money, $10,000 or $20,000 a year for a full-time job that you really, it's the one level of government that you are actually giving, your full service to the community. Now, that pissed off councillors around the state, so instead he targeted his attack on me, because I had the temerity to go to Russia with Julian Assange's father to the BRICS conference, because we wanted to see world politics and the change in world politics taking place with the big BRICS conference that happened in Kazan. Of course, I absolutely got belted for that, and I've copped it pretty hard all across the media, not just here, but all around the world. I've had something 250 million plus views, most of them positive, but a lot of in the mainstream, particularly aggressive portrayal of who I am, what I stand for, and Channel 7 calls me a domestic terrorist. Now, I want to have a bit of the crowd engagement. I'd like just quickly, how many people here have not been to a rally in the last 5 years that are sort of standing up for these Australian rights and freedoms? How many haven't been to one? I'd like to say welcome. Thank you for being here. This is it's wonderful that so many of you have come out and now starting to see, particularly with what's happened with Charlie Kirk. There's a war on ideas. There's a war on free speech. And when that war turns, it's been what we call metaphorical, but now it's turned real. When we see someone live on our telephones or on our laptops or on our computers at work, to see how far they will go to shut down free speech. Now we're seeing all across this state, farmers, anyone that likes hunting or would like to protect themselves, having their guns removed. But more than that, the weapons that we all hold, and every one of us has this weapon, and that's our voice. And they're doing all they can to take that weapon from you. So what they're rolling out on us now across, not just here in Western Australia and Australia at large, but all around the world, they're doing everything they can to take that weapon of our voice and our free speech off all of us. And we only have to look at the UK. This is our I guess our parent country. Up to 30 arrests now happening a day in that country for people making Facebook posts that oppose the absolute ridiculous rates of immigration and illegal immigration that they're allowing into that country. Unchecked immigration is absolutely out of control in this country. I'm not a white supremacist. I'm not here to preach any ideology. I'm just here to say that while Australians are sleeping on the street, every time I come to Perth, there's extra bodies laying on the street up here in Adelaide Terrace. And we've got all these people, Australian veterans and everyone else that can't afford houses, and we're just flooding this country with more and more. It's an absolute disgrace, and this is coming from both sides of government. This isn't a left and right. This isn't red and blue. This isn't Labor Liberal. This is, as Malcolm Roberts always says, it's two cheeks of the same arse. But anyway, I could talk for hours up here on the Port Hedland stuff. One thing I just want to say quickly, I think I've already gone over my time, but we have to be very, very careful about how much of this mainstream media narrative we're allowing into our homes and into our minds. Because I've already met one of the Channel 7 guys here today, and I'm sure he's a lovely guy. But they have the same needs and desires and wants as the rest of us. And so the narrative that they've been able to get out on me personally and also on Port Hedland in particular, they tell us that we're dysfunctional and we can't pass a budget. The Minister came out, the Minister for Local Government, Hannah Beasley, who used to live in this house across the way here under Kim Beasley, she came out on Friday 2 weeks ago and said the Port Hedland Council is dysfunctional, they can't pass a budget. Now she lied blatantly to the media, she lied blatantly to the people of Western Australia, because she had only signed off 2 days earlier on our budget strategy, so we hadn't even had a chance to look at our budget. She knew that because she just signed the document. 2 days later, she got her Labor Party stooge in Port Hedland to resign, and he said the same thing. We can't pass a budget. We're dysfunctional. Complete lies. We've never been dysfunctional, and we've never even been allowed to look at our own budget. And then, of course, we asked for a quorum. Give us a reduced quorum so we can pass budget. She says, no, you can't have a reduced quorum of 4. I'm going to give my friends in the Labor Party a quorum of 2. They can come to Port Hedland and they can rape the town blind and spend all the money that we've been trying to save and keep our town from spending. So this is at every level of government. This corruption that we're fighting is local, it's state, it's federal. And if there's one message I can leave all of us here, it's, while I appreciate you coming out here and waving your flag and showing that we're a group of patriotic Australians, we need to get involved. Plato said the famous words that those show apathy and don't get involved in political affairs are destined to be ruled by your inferiors. And we are absolutely, there is no one in this building up here in West Perth and certainly in Canberra that deserves or should have that position over any person standing here today, because I don't see a patriotic Aussie amongst them. So please, I need you involved. We need to be involved at local level. Get involved with your P&C council at your school. Get involved with your local government. Right now in WA, we're in the middle of our local government elections. Find who's on our side. Get out. Leaflet drop. Get good people in your local government. Because the Port Hedland motion, it's gone all around Australia. It's gone all around the world. As I said, we've had over 200 million views on a Port Hedland council meeting. But if you guys, everyone here today, gets out and supports good candidates for this local government election, we will see a wildfire, not just of the Port Hedland motion and the COVID stuff, but genuine, decent truth filtering up from the ground up. It never comes from the top down. It always comes from the bottom up. And this is the way, this is what I've learned personally, that the changes will not happen if we're going to stand here and demand action from Canberra. It won't come. It will happen in our local government, with our local communities, because those guys in local government, they live amongst us. They're rate-paying members of our communities like the rest of us. These guys in Canberra don't live amongst us. You don't get to go and shake their hand. You don't get to go and have a coffee with them whenever you feel like it. Do it here local and you will see the change, and we've got to be that change. I can't push that hard enough. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being here. I'm so proud to stand here and before you and see so many Aussie flags and be part of this really wonderful patriotic day. Thank you.
Big hand for Adrian McRae. I hope you take notice of what he was saying. It really is time to get involved. You need to have your voice heard, and you need to get the momentum happening, particularly behind the Port Hedland motion. Okay. So next up, we have Jodie Clune. Jodie Clune ran for the Senate in the last election, representing Jared Rennick's People First Party. And Jodie's setting up a branch of People First on behalf of Jared Rennick here in Perth. They are amassing branches all around the country so that by the time the next federal election comes around, Jared Rennick's name will be a household name. Okay, I'd like to invite to the stage Jodie Clune.
Yeah, duck's disease, my husband says. Absolutely. Look, I just want to say a big thank you very much. My name's Jodie Clune and I'm here to represent People First Australia. So People First Party, has anyone heard of Jared Rennick? Isn't it amazing to have voice in Parliament that is actually representing, and to see that voice have their backs turned on to Jared Rennick and some of the other amazing parliamentarians, and when we actually are trying to get our message that we're here today to say, hey, government, we don't have confidence in you because you're not hearing us. Even the people that are speaking for us, you're turning your back on and walking out on. Now, when those in Parliament are not hearing what we're calling about, not hearing what our frustrations are, and those who are standing up for us are literally having their backs turned on them, they are doing that to you and to me. Now, why I'm here today is because I have been, the last 2 years, pushing back on bad legislation. I don't want to be censored. I don't want to be surveilled. I do not want a digital ID to track me and how I spend my money and what I do with my time and my conversations. I'm really glad to hear that you agree with me, because I need your help. As Adrian was up here saying, we need us to come together and to stand up and say no more. We need to take the positions of those who are meant to be representing us, and we need to pull back the politicians that are in there to work for other interests, not the Australian people. It is time Australians will put first back into this country. The reason why I'm standing with People First is because I was at Canberra, I was at the rallies in Brisbane, and people say to me, Jodie, what is the use? They don't say anything, they don't do anything. What are we accomplishing? Well, in the last 2 years, I want to let you know that when people come together, you actually do make a difference. We have actually had the pandemic treaty that they tried to push on us. It has actually been knocked off its timetable, and it has actually been lessened. We've got the international health regulations that is actually not the full gamut of what they wanted to do. That is now going to be coming in a lesser version, but still coming in on the 19th of this month. We still don't want it. Oath we don't, absolutely no. So what does that look like? They are pushing. We are saying no, and yet they are still moving forward. We are saying no to a digital ID. We are saying no, I don't want to log in and do a facial ID when I just want to Google something. Right now, we have a government that is absolutely rolling over us. They are absolutely just shutting off. When we say we want the housing crisis taken care of, what's their solution? Well, let's go to India. Let's spend money and training them, bring their tradies over, and then build our houses. What about our tradies? What about small business? I've spoken to plenty of you who are saying, yep, we don't want to have the legislation that is, we don't want to have legislation that is going to be tying our tradies up, so it's not worth taking on an apprentice. It's not worth getting on with the job. That's why they're walking away. That's why small business is actually closing down. Our manufacturing is offshore. These are the things that the people who are meant to be representing us need to get back on the job. Now, we've got council elections here. I would love for you guys to put your hand up. I would love for you guys to get behind your councillors that are wanting to put Australians first. Because Adrian is right. We need good people back in every level of government, every level of representation. It is now time for you and I to stand shoulder to shoulder as we are today and actually take our government back and take our country back. So I'm asking today, get involved. It is amazing to see so many flags. It's amazing to see so many of you here today. Let's get involved. Let's support those who are stepping up. Let's support those who are putting their hat in the ring, because it's a hard gig. Let's get Australia back on track. The policies, the values need to be reinstated. It's not rocket science. It just takes people who are looking at our next generation and how can we protect them and how can we make their future better. Thank you.
Oh, short people. Oh, God. Oh, there we go. That's better. Stretch my legs. Thank you very much to Jodie Clune. I am supporting Jodie. I'm working with her as her voluntary assistant, trying not to do anything wrong. But yes, Jared Rennick, we need someone like him who knows what he's talking about, who cares about the people and cares about what happens to them. So anybody who wants to support Jodie in the march towards the next federal election, please come and see her today. Give her your name and address. Hope you've got some paper and a pen, Jodie. And or go onto the WA Jared Rennick People First Party website and you can fill out all the information there. So big hand for Jodie Clune. So next up, we've got Jordan Woodhams. Now, Jordan is the president of the Libertarian Party, and I'm going to invite him up to the stage to entertain you.
Hey everyone, I'm just going to say it is heartwarming to see so many Australian flags out here and it is fantastic to see so many young people as well. I remember, some 20 years ago when I was a bratty teenager, I used to say to people, "It's a free country, man. Free speech." Nobody says that anymore because it's not true. We don't have free speech. Not when politicians can introduce the Myths and Disinformation Bill. Not when politicians can pass the Hate Crimes Act 2025. Not when politicians can ram through the social media ban bill requiring all Australians to have a digital identity just to access things like bloody YouTube. Alright? You know what that's going to lead to? In the UK, every day, they arrest on average 30 British citizens for Facebook posts. And the Labor government has passed the Hate Crimes Act 2025 here, criminalising some of your speech. And they're also requiring digital identity. It's not just possible to lock you up for the mean words you say on the internet. It's bloody trivial. Now, America is not a perfect country, but they got one thing perfectly right. The right to free speech, the First Amendment. It recognizes your right to free speech, and it protects it with 5 simple words. Congress shall make no law. That's how you protect your rights. Put them beyond the jurisdiction of the politicians. Don't even give the government the opportunity to regulate your speech, your privacy. That's what libertarians stand for. Libertarians stand for our right to speak, our right to privacy, our right to protest. Rights that are meant to be inalienable, not government permissions. We understand, join a party that understands the government can't grant you your rights because your rights can't be given to you. You were born with your rights. Libertarians understand that you were born free. Your rights existed before government, and we created government not to dispense our freedoms, but to protect them. I'm Jordan Woodhams of the Libertarian Party West Australia, and I believe that it is our duty to fight and protect our rights, so that someday in our country we can once again be a proud nation that says it's a free fucking country.
Jordan Woodhams, well said. A free fucking country. Yes. Woo! Go Jordan.
Probably get arrested for that.
Oh, we've got a no-show. We've got a no-show, I'm afraid. Okay. We'll move on to the next one then. Alyssa Coe began the Right to Work project around about the time that the Ben Falconer case was coming on. So Alyssa, I'm going to invite you to the stage to talk to everyone about what's going on with you.
Is that okay? Can everyone hear me? Thank you so much for giving me 5 minutes of your, what do you want me to do? What? Okay, I can talk louder. Is that better? Alright, okay, cool. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm here to talk to you about the Right to Work project. We exist to test the law and to make case law that protects every single Australian worker's rights to bodily autonomy and their right to work regardless of their medical choices. So our efforts are for your children and all Australian children, and our hope is that governments will be deterred from making draconian legislation like the COVID-19 vaccine mandates, and that employers will be empowered to reject such measures in the future. So, our group formed in 2022, and we are as a response to a large number of people who are seeking help as they agonised over the decision of whether to take an experimental drug known as a COVID-19 vaccine and retain their employment and their societal privileges, or decline the vaccine, lose your societal privileges and become a pariah and get sacked. So I'd like to tell you about a lady called Jackie. Jackie's a single mother. She worked for a private training organisation And in 2021, she worked from home and she delivered online training. So when the mandates for her industry rolled out, she had conversations with her employer, voicing her concerns and explaining to them that she'd had a previous anaphylactic reaction to influenza and she was quite concerned about this experimental drug. So she was allowed to take annual leave while she went through the processes of getting one of those very rare medical exemptions from the Chief Health Officer of Western Australia. So in January, on a Friday in January of 2022, Jackie was sacked by her employer while she was on annual leave. And the next business day, she received her COVID-19 medical exemption from the Chief Health Officer of the time. So Jackie contacted her employer. I've got this medical exemption that you wanted me to get. Please, would you reconsider my termination? And her employer declined and stood firm in their decision to sack her. So in July of 2022, Jackie lodged a disability discrimination complaint with the Australian Human Rights Commission. It took them 18 months and then they terminated her complaint in around February, March of 2024. So we lodged a leave application to the Australian Federal Court in April of 2024, and on September 2024, Judge Street granted us leave to go to trial, to take Jackie's case to the Federal Court of Australia. I just want to read to you very quickly a quick summary from our lawyer. In Jackie's case, I put an argument that being unvaccinated is a disability and that Jackie was discriminated against for this disability. The court appears to have found that this argument is sufficiently arguable to allow Jackie's case to proceed. Jackie also had some medical contraindications, and I argued that these medical contraindications were also a disability and that Jackie was also discriminated against for these disabilities. And again, the court appears to have found that this argument is sufficiently arguable to allow Jackie's case to proceed. So just quickly, we haven't won anything. We've just been given permission to run a case in the federal court. So we haven't won anything, but it is a small lot of favour that a judge has granted us. So we entered 2025 and we did 2 lots of mediation and that failed, surprisingly. So we're going to trial. We expect the trial date to happen around June of 2026. And anyone who's familiar with the legal process knows that litigation is expensive and it costs a lot of money, and every lawyer is worth their wages, just like I don't go to work for free, they don't go to work for free either. And so we have the services of Ben Tamazi. You might remember him from the Falconer case. He was actually the originator of this argument. It's kind of his baby, and we're very, very pleased to have him execute the argument in a court for us. So I'm here today to say, please, would you consider supporting us? You can check us out on Telegram, X, and Facebook. Just search the Right to Work Project. I've got people in the crowd with some cards with a QR code that will send you to our GoFundMe page. And I'm asking you guys, just would you consider partnering with us for the sake of your children and yourselves, so that maybe the next time they try and roll out an experimental vaccine mandate, we will have some case law to actually say, no, you really can't do this. It's not okay. I just want to leave you with some words from an ancient prophet who tells us to do justice, to love kindness and mercy, and to walk in humility. And today I'm asking you to help us to do justice, to right the wrongs of 2021 and 2022, when thousands of people lost their jobs because they refused to participate in a great experiment of COVID vaccines. That I'm quoting Greg Hunt there. So thank you so much for your time. See ya.
Thank you to Alyssa. You've got to really admire those people who take on the court system, because it really is not in our favour. When you go and tell the truth in court, you get thrown out. So big hand for Alyssa and the group that she has that takes on the people and has enough courage to go to court.
Next up, we've got Stuart Chapman again. Now, Stuart, you may all know because he, apart from being the bane of existence for the Perth Council, runs once a month, the first Saturday of every month, the Walk of Shame. Through the city is a little rally where people go and they hold up these amazing placards that all have some truth about them, and people come along and speak about what's going on these cards, and we're getting these days a lot of interaction from the normies who are finding that they are being affected by the COVID vaccines, their family, their friends, everything. So now people are starting to come forward more with their stories. So I'd like to welcome Stuart to the stage again, and hopefully won't spit on the microphone this time.
Oh, hello, beautiful people. Come on up. All right, so first Saturday every month we have the Walk of Shame. We walk and do the Walk of Shame because the politicians, the pharmaceutical companies, the media should be doing the Walk of Shame. Yeah. This guy here, Superintendent Walsh, he had banned 800 of my protests. Shame! So, I took Superintendent Walsh and Commissioner Blanche to the State Administrative Tribunal 5 times, and I won 5 times! Oh, baby! So please join us. These placards, take them for the rally. Please return them because we use them. We have new placards every month, so new topics. So please join us first Saturday month, 11:30 Forest Place. So our final point is I believe that the police commissioner is acting illegally. I've just heard that there's a Palestinian rally up there and half of them are wearing masks, but we're not allowed to wear masks. Shame! They want to know everyone here, okay? They want to know your face, they want to record it. So what they're doing is illegal. They're interfering with our political right to protest. So I make an announcement today. I'm going to take the Chief Commissioner to the tribunal for a 6th time. And I'm going to beat him. Oh, baby. Thank you.
We love you, Stuart. On you, Stuart. He's a high school teacher.
Oh, I can't complain about this one. Oh! Oh! I have to wash my mouth out after. Okay, big hand for Stuart. It's a great undertaking to do a rally every month, particularly right in the middle of the public. And if you want to jump onto Max Freedom, you can see some of the things that happen and some of the things that Stuart has to deal with. It's pretty full on. Anyway, big thanks to Stuart. Next up, we've got Michael Coletti. Now, Michael Coletti was a former representative running candidate for AFP, the Australian Federation Party, back in the previous election, not the last one, but the one before. He's now running as an independent, or soon would be independent candidate, unless someone wants to pick him up. Maybe. Michael has a lot to say. He's very, very experienced in the field of politics. So I'm going to invite Michael to the stage. He's going to have a chat to you about the Constitution, about democracy, and what's going on about the next election. Michael.
Constitution is the solution.
Thanks, Pip. Thanks to Pip and Luke and whoever else has organised all this and indulging me for a couple of minutes, and all of you people out there. Yeah, look, I wanted to reiterate some of what everyone else has already said, particularly Adrian McRae with what happened up there in Port Hedland. But the Constitution, people, if you don't know it and you don't know what rights it conveys on you as an Australian, it's time to get to know it, because it doesn't give you a right to free speech. That's implied, but it should. And we should get that corrected fairly shortly. But what it does give you is the right to representation. and you're not getting it. When you have a two-party system and everybody votes for what the party tells them to vote for, that's not representation, and we need to stand up for that in 2028. So that's something you've got to get onto. They're meant to represent you. Democracy in action. Okay, over there is Rebecca Pizzi. At previous election, I met Rebecca. She's now on the council at Joondalup. If you can run for your local council, as Adrian has done, as Rebecca has done, get on there. That's your first line to democracy. And you can't stop paying your taxes, but you can stop paying your rates, and then your council will be a little bit upset. And in a couple of months, they'll start asking, why aren't people paying their rates? And there's a lot of other things that we need to be doing as citizens to put some pressure on the government to give us what we deserve and what we're entitled to. So start there. The next election, there's going to be lots of rallies, there's got to be lots of events. We're coming up to 2028. It's closer than you think, and there'll be people like myself, there'll be people like the other people who have spoken today who will be needing your support. And at the end of the day, it's really up to you. People like me and people like them who are comfortable standing up here and running their mouths off can't do anything if we don't get the support of the public. Okay, it's all up to you. Every single one of you here today should give yourself a clap on the back for turning up. But we need 10 times these numbers, and these rallies need to grow every week or every month or wherever they're held, and send a strong message to these people. 2028, things are going to change. And you'll be hearing from people like myself and people like these other candidates organising events and telling you what exactly it is we require of you to do to put pressure on these people that stand in our government every day, taking a paycheck, and they're not representing you. They're representing the oligarchs, they're representing BHP, they're representing these big companies. They don't care about you in the slightest. But it's your vote that gives them the power to do that. That's what you've got to remember. Not only your vote, that's what you get, but every time you spend $1, that's a vote. So be very careful where you spend your money. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, it's up to us old farts. It really is. The young people are struggling. Most of them are struggling to pay their mortgages and get by. People who reach my old age, most of us have done okay. We're doing a little bit better than the young people who are struggling, and it's up to us to lead the way. So I can see a lot of old farts like me out there. It's up to us. Lead the way. We know what this country should be. We know what it was. We know what happened, and it's time to turn it around. It's time to turn it around. Now, sorry, that wasn't the last thing. What happened in the US with Charlie Kirk? I've got one thing to say about that. When the left tried to tell you that violence, or that speech was violence, what they were really setting up was that violence was acceptable against speech. That's the problem. Speech is speech. Any person out there, you can disagree with everything I've got to say, but you've got the right to say it. And we need to start with that in this country. It's one thing the Americans got right. Thank you.
Big thanks to Michael Colley. Some good things to say. We've got 2.5 years before the next federal election. We're going to have to get our shit together. Yes, we should do away with preferential voting. Anyway, just my opinion. Okay, next up. Yes, agreed. Next up, we've got Pelio, who you probably know because he's always organising rallies. He's always in the thick of doing something. He's responsible for a number of the stand in the parks that happen around the city, and also has had great success backing all of our people approaching the Joondalup Council. So Pelio, would you like to come up to the stage, please?
Hello all, and thank you for being here. We all know that digital ID is not going to be good. It's coming, and it's coming fast. And we need to think, what are we ready to lose? What are we ready to give up for this? Like when digital ID comes, if we cannot log into social media, we can log into social media. Fuck that. Let's meet people in the park instead. So that's what the stand in the park is about. It's about making connections physically with people.
There's a website called standinthepark.org where all the stands across the world are listed. So wherever you are in the world, you can go and check, and there'll be a stand in the park near you where you can go and meet the local awake community. We need to remember that they want us divided, and they want us fighting each other. And this is, when we're fighting humans, we're fighting the wrong thing. We need to fight government instead. So we need to accept everybody's point of view. We all have different points of view at some point, right? And we need to find our common ground. And the common ground is freedom. So I've got just a quick list of tips of things that you can do to resist government control and remain free. Use cash. Choose a small business over the big corporations. And support local over foreign. Start getting used to leaving your phone at home or your shackles. Or at least leave it in your car. Don't bring it to meetings or to meet your friends. Unlock your devices with a pin or a pattern. And don't give your face or your digital print to any device. Read all terms and conditions before you agree to anything. Because they are taking your privacy and they're taking all your data when you agree to things. That includes those capture screens. Well, ironically, you gotta prove to a computer that you are a human. Close my Gov account. Get that closed. They don't need to know anything about you. And stop all your unnecessary subscriptions. Don't give your money to big corporations like Netflix, Foxtel, Spotify. Cancel your subscriptions. Grow veggies. Get some chickens. And attend your local community groups. We organize meetings at Topolini's regularly. You have stand in the parks. You have Hoodies Heroes. Go and meet your community. Attend rallies and hug people. And whatever comes next, do not comply. Thank you.
Did you hear that? You want to hug people. All right? Make sure, come on, I want to see some hugging going on. Come on. So we're going to go on now. You'll be heading off for the walk very shortly. We've got 2 more speakers. Our next speaker is Chloe Geddes from the Aligned Council of Australia, and then we'll have Branchy from the Hard Yarns podcast, who's going to get you ready to walk. Okay, I'd like to welcome to the stage Chloe Geddes, who's also our representative for Children's Health Defence here in Australia, and she's going to talk to you about the Aligned Council of Australia and what is going on with them in regard to the WHO and what's coming from the WHO. The World Health Organization, the one who want to tell you what to do about your own bodily autonomy, they're going to direct the government to mandate you to do everything that they want you to do. So you've got to be prepared. We should totally get rid of the UN.
Hello. Thank you. My name is Chloe Geddes and I'm here today speaking on behalf of the Aligned Council of Australia, a collective of 39 organisations representing 1.8 million Australians. We are committed to stopping the implementation of the WHO Pandemic Treaty and International Health Regulation Amendments and protect the right of Australians to make decisions for Australia. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge the moment we're in. We've come together today in the shadow of events this week that shook us all. At least they certainly shaken me. I want to thank you for being here, for choosing to stand in the open, to speak and to listen, because that's what freedom is. The ability to debate and to discover new ideas and to understand opposing viewpoints without fear. What we saw this week was a symptom of something deeper, a culture that has come to treat ideas as dangerous, as if words themselves are weapons. A culture that cannot argue without calling each other threats is a culture that forgets what speech is for. If the conversation is outlawed, the conflict doesn't vanish, it changes form and costs us our humanity. That's why rallies like this one matter. That's why freedom of speech matters and the ability to explore a marketplace of ideas, because without it, we don't just lose our voice, we lose the very ground beneath us. We're all gathered here today because we have woken up to a hard truth. Our government is corrupt. Not just careless, not just misguided, corrupt. And nowhere is that clearer in the way they are handling the WHO Pandemic Treaty and IHR amendments. These agreements hand over decision-making power to unelected officials in Geneva. Our leaders promised to defend Australian sovereignty, but instead they've signed us up to surveillance, censorship and control. They've done it quietly, behind closed doors, with almost no media coverage, because they know if Australians saw the fine print, we would never allow it. Who benefits? Not us, not our families, not our farmers, not our workers. The only ones who gain are the same private funders and pharmaceutical giants who profit from every emergency. Hear, hear, butter. And our politicians, the ones who take your tax dollars and funnel them overseas to prop up these global bureaucrats, they are complicit. This is corruption in plain sight. It's a selling off of our sovereignty for the price of political convenience and foreign favour. But here's the difference between us and them. In the face of their corruption, we answer with integrity. In the face of their censorship, we speak louder. In the face of their disrespect, we double down on respect for each other, for our freedom, and for our country. That is what makes us stronger than any threat we face. So let me speak directly to the government. You were elected to serve Australians, not the World Health Organization. You don't get to sell us our sovereignty like it's pocket change. We see you, we know who you serve, and we will hold you accountable. To the police. You were on the front lines of lockdowns. You were used as the blunt tool of these policies. You saw the damage they caused. Under these new treaties, you could be ordered to physically restrain people for medical testing and procedures, including forced vaccination. That is already written into law in WA. It is brutal and an abuse by the state towards its citizens. Do not let them use you again. And to Australians everywhere, this is the line in the sand. These treaties are not about health, they are about control. They are the back door for censorship, surveillance, and digital ID. And if we don't push back now, we lose freedom of speech, freedom of choice, and national sovereignty itself. This is government corruption, this is betrayal, and this is why we stand here today. Decisions about Australians and our country must be made by Australians, not by unelected officials and not by corrupt politicians who have forgotten who they serve. That's why the Aligned Council of Australia exists, to unite voices, to shine a light and to protect the freedoms of every Australian. Stand with us and together we stand for this country. Thank you.
So you've got to get yourself across all of the things that are going on with the World Health Organization and the international health regulations. They will affect you. You need to know what to do to stand up against it. Thank you very much to Chloe for doing that for us. Right, we're getting ready now to go on the march. It might rain, but hey, whatever. We're now coming up to the microphone is Branchy, as you might know him, from the Hard Yarns podcast. And if you have not yet had the awesome pleasure of listening to Branchy on the Hard Yarns podcast, then you must jump on and do that. He's pretty amazing. He's got great guys that come and help him out. Chloe's on there quite a lot. And fantastic topics. All sorts of things that you want to know about. So, Branchy, you want to come up to the stage? And I believe Branchy's going to get you ready. Are you ready? Sorry, what was that? Sorry? Oh, please, come on. Are you ready?
Fuck yeah, I'm the last speaker. We feeling good about that? How good? Finally, we can bugger off and go for a march like we wanted to do. Now, I'm going to do you all a favour. I'm going to cut out about 90% of what I was going to say because we all want to bugger off and start marching in unity. So, I'm going to leave you one thing. This week, obviously, with Charlie Kirk, we saw the horrifying things we saw with people reveling in the death and the murder of a loving father and husband. And I don't hate them for it. I feel sympathy for them. I feel sorry for them because they're a victim of orchestrated division. And this is something that a lot of us are going to find hard to hear, is that if we respond to them in anger and emotionally, we too are a victim of that orchestrated division. If we are pointing the finger at each other, we are not pointing the finger at the people at the top who orchestrate the division in the first place. So we need to come together. Today is about unity. You'll have the media, you'll have the politicians. They'll paint us with all sorts of smear words, racists, misogynists, anti-vaxxers. They'll use those terms to prod their own sort of divisive tactics. And we can't do that. That is the perfect example of what we're seeing today. That is why you're all here today, is because they're not listening. All we all want is to be heard. We all want the same thing. We all just disagree on the same pathway there. So today when we march with unity, march with pride, march with love, but make sure we don't get sucked into any violence, any divisive tactics, and we all unite to beat what we call the state who are influencing all of this division. Thank you very much. Enjoy your march.